The opening scene of the 1983 screen adaptation of Tom Wolfe's book, The Right Stuff, features video footage of a flight through a cloud layer at extreme speeds. The narrator paints a picture of a demon that lives in the sky. In the post-World War II era of aviation, he was thought to live at the fast end of the airspeed indicator, right around Mach 1, or the speed of sound. The demon that haunted me lives right at the stall point of my glider. I've recently come face to face with that demon. So last week I took a P2 training course, a free flight course, no motors. And I went out to Colorado to do so along with 6 other students, and I got in 41 flights, and I finally broke through the barrier that has been haunting me. The fact that so many of the videos that I've posted in one way, shape, or form reference energy management just proves that I was never really comfortable operating right near the stall point in a glider. You got to understand, in the world that I came from, the airspeed indicator, the angle of attack indicators, those were the tools that kept you safe from that stall margin. Even general aviation airplanes have a buffet, usually, that warns of an impending stall. I wasn't comfortable operating near the stall point with a glider because of the consequences of stalling it up high. Until I had committed to this course, I had been operating my glider much like an airplane, with only reference and respect for the power curve versus the polar curve. During one of the ground school sessions, the instructor, Lane, suggested that we differentiate between a no-brake or trim speed flight condition and slowing the glider into the best sync range of its operating potential. Well, I finally feel like I reached a breakthrough. We got in a lot of flying, a lot of hiking, a lot of vertical climbing, but I made 41 flights, and in those 41 flights, I had to rely on energy management. I couldn't throttle up. I couldn't come in and say, oh, that didn't work out. I mean, I had a little power and make it work. No, I had to say, I want to land there, or I want to land at a specific speed or into the wind and avoid obstacles like boulders, leg-breaking trenches that have rutted into the landscape out there. And it was a real eye-opener for me to have to rely solely on energy management to make those advances. There's no throttle up, no power to save your bacon, so to speak. Not every day was flyable, and we spent more than a few days on the training ridges as well. Marty is down low and he's sinking out. While I let a few of these video clips play, I have to recant one particular flight where about halfway through the course, the whole concept of this minimum sync operating and flying for prolonged periods of time below the trim speed of the glider really came into focus and made sense for me. I missed getting it with the GoPro because of the difficulties of keeping gear charged and downloading SD cards in such a remote location, but but I'll try my best to explain what happened. It was the flight that I opened this video with, where I was instructed to pull big ears as part of the course content. When it came time to release the big ears, there was not enough altitude to maneuver back to the designated landing zone. So I was faced with choosing a landing site on the valley floor. And as I neared the ground and the terrain separation started to be minimized by my descent rate, I realized that if I landed like I would have made the approach with a motor, I would have been into a very deep V-shaped water drainage that was strewn with 8, 10, and 12-foot boulders. It was not looking pretty. To be into the wind, it was too late. There was not enough time to turn, so there wasn't much in the way of wind, and I just eased the glider into the min-sink configuration, about 7, 8, 10 pounds of pressure, and magically, I changed my glide angle significantly, and I coasted right past the V-shaped drainage onto the flat area, and I still had plenty of energy left to flare the wing and make a nice smooth touchdown into the wind. Prior to that experience, the only option that I would have reached for in the past was to add power. Well, with the ability to repeat flight after flight after flight and experiment with different brake positions, different portions of the polar curve, it really hammered home that these newfound ranges of speed, particularly at the slow end and particularly very near the stall point, really opened up a lot of new opportunities. Check it out. He's got it. Well, I've already started to incorporate a much different flying style into my PPG flying because of the experiences that I learned here at Otto's Ridge in western Colorado.
Wait, you got a glider.
Okay. That's it.
Let's lean back, let's get comfortable in the harness, lift those knees up a little bit, and be mindful that we're flying crosswind. Let's go ahead and make a left turn. Let's come back in front of launch. Look, lean, turn left.
Now for the big answer to everybody's question. Would I recommend this? What came first, the chicken or the egg? Should you take a PG, pure paraglider course before you start flying PPG? Is this for me? Well, first of all, I'm going to say no. I missed my motor. I like the fact that the motor opens up so many more opportunities to fly. When I was gliding for those minutes, I really enjoyed the silence and the quietness of not having the motor on. But I wouldn't go so far as to say that this is something I'm going to pursue very actively, other than for what it has taught me, which I plan to incorporate into my PPG flying. Over the course of the 7 days we spent on the ridge, I had an opportunity to fly both my Muse 3 in 31 meter size and my 28 meter Charger. Both wings are rated for both free flight and PPG. However, I learned a new appreciation for the Muse. I felt that it performed better as a free flight glider than it does as a motor glider. Before I do any more free flight paraglider flying, I will acquire a pure PG wing without regard for how it performs under a motor. I'd also like to look at something with a little higher aspect ratio that would give me a little bit more performance and a little bit more glider hang time, as most of my flights on this entire week were sled rides to the bottom. In a word, yes, this is highly valuable for you powered paraglider guys to go out there and do. The variety of weather that we had to fly in or choose to fly in over the course of the week was just astounding. Everything from hot, dry, dusty, desert-like conditions to torrential rains and mud to severe weather and even a few snowflakes and some hail. But hands down, the most dangerous thing that I encountered was the weather. I decided it was a matter of life and death to get off of that ridge, and I made it to paved roads. And there's what I'm out running. I'm still trying to get out ahead of it to the east. Well, while I watched that video clip of the severe weather, I remember that I had intended this session to be talking about traffic patterns. That came from a visit that I made to my local Flight Service District office at the FAA to get my flight instructor rating renewed. That's an interesting discussion, and I promise I won't cheat you on that because I think it's important stuff for PPG guys, especially if you fly at and around airports. Until next time, take care and fly safe.